I don't know who needs to hear this, but shout out to everybody out there who's been making progress that goes unrecognized. Because you choose not to show your darkest hours. You've been silently winning battles in your mind that nobody knows anything about. Be proud of yourself. You've got this. Yo, what's going on, everyone? My name is David, and I'm the Plant Powered Runner. I want to welcome you to my channel, where I talk about running, heart rate training, and everything in between. I've been running on and off for about 7 years. I've gained a lot of weight over the last year or so, and I'm working my way back to losing it. It's an adventure, that's for sure, and it's never easy. Sometimes you lose your motivation, sometimes you gain it. I want to run a lot of great races, but to do so, I got to put in the work, and it doesn't happen if I'm sitting on the couch. All you runners who are using heart rate training, you need to pay attention to your runs. You want to know if you're improving or not, and using a journal is an amazing way to do this. The reason I say this is because one of my subscribers reached out to me and he goes, you know what, Dave, I hit a low point in my MAF training and I'm not seeing kind of any improvements. So I logged on to Strava, I took a couple of screenshots of, his run number 1 to run number 20, and I compared it, and he's 4 minutes faster, like 40 seconds faster per kilometer. And he's telling me that he's not improving. Look, that's why it is so important to really pay attention to your numbers when you are running this way, because running never seems to get easier. You actually just get faster. And if you don't pay attention to that, guess what? You're gonna probably say it's not working and quit. I know it can be frustrating, and I know if we actually look at the numbers, we can see that we do improve. Today, I'm going to share with you how my training has been going using the Maffetone method and what I've seen in the past 2 months in ways of improvement. Hopefully, I've seen improvement because, to be quite honest, I haven't looked at my numbers. I know nobody likes doing a test, but they do it for a reason. If you don't know where you stand in your training, or if you're learning a new language, or mathematics, or whatever it is, your science exam, you need to understand that they do it for a reason. And checking your fitness is no different. It can be hard to face the music, so to speak, when it comes to your training. Heart rate training, zone 2 training, Kavarvan training, intensity, fartlek, hill repeats, it really doesn't matter. We always test ourselves. I have to be honest, I've been lacking. I have not been recording my runs, and I have no idea where my fitness is right now, at all. Everyone has a story. Everyone has been through something that has changed them. So, you should never judge a person by the chapter you have walked in on. Sometimes when you're not paying attention, things do change. You improve. Sometimes while you're improving, you don't see the results, and you think about giving up. That's why it's so important that we look at our training and analyze the results, because you're just one step away from maybe breaking a PB. Friendly reminder, when you really think about it, true motivation comes from within. No one can hand it to you, but nobody can take it from you either. This in a spreadsheet so I can see this better, because it's hard to see what the heck I'm doing. Like, if I don't put this in a spreadsheet, I'll never. 145, really. So 5 beats higher. You can see the importance of doing a journal, right? You saw me going through the motions of trying to figure out which one was better than the other. And it can be so hard for people. I mean, that's even on a desktop. So it's hard for people to even look at on their phone. I reached a point where I was like, I haven't been tracking my runs. And that's a problem, because as you clearly saw yesterday, I was all over the place. I didn't know whether I was improving, whether I wasn't improving, what kind of improvement I had, was I regressing. There are a lot of other platforms that you can use. You have Garmin, you have Coros, you have Polar, you have Training Peaks, you have Strava, and there's so many online products that you can use. What I like to do is I like to take the information that I'm provided with Coros, whether it could be Garmin if I was using their platform, but I could take all of my runs, and I've made a spreadsheet that I will link down below. I mentioned this on my other video that you can take a look at when I talked about how to do a math test. This is where I put all my information when I run. For me, I'm a very visual person. That's how I learn, and it's how I improve. So when I did my 90 days of running every single day in a row, I actually charted it and I put it into a spreadsheet, and this is what it looks like. There's a gradual increase of me running faster and faster and faster at pretty much the same heart rate. Okay. This was like a couple of days into November, and then I didn't run really again until December. So there was, some time off here. So that's what this gap is. So when I started to make my way back to my training, you can kind of see my heart rate was a little higher than I had been training at before. I was more kind of in my zone 2, my Kavarvan method training. This was more kind of Maffetone over on the left-hand side. And so I looked over here and I'm like, okay, my power kind of looks the same if I continued the line across. I'm way slower. All of a sudden, I am way slow here, okay? And so I get a little further in to December, everything's a little all over the place, very inconsistent. I'm not really running very much. I'm 3 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm not really running very much per week here. As you can see over here, I was running around 8 to 9 hours. That was a good number for me. Everything was moving in such a beautiful, beautiful direction. And then, so here, this is January, right? So January, my heart rate, I got it back down to 139, 137, and then it started to kind of creep up a little bit into the 140s. But you could see my mileage went back up. So I'm 9 hours, but then I dropped back down to 6, then up to 7, then up to 7. So I'm trying to be a little consistent. The first week back, I was bang on. I was right where I wanted to be. Obviously, my pace went up to 7:53, but then it started to kind of drop down again. And then we get into February. And as you can take a look with February, I kind of started to go back down again, right? This is good, right? 720, 722. And this is all kilometers. Sorry, guys. This is kilometers that I'm looking at here. 722 a kilometer, and then 701 a kilometer, 703, 642, 705, kind of shot back up again. But here's the ugly stuff. My heart rate, so I'm not necessarily back in my MAF zone here. I'm more in the higher numbers of my zone 2 training, right? Look at this, right? I did a little more speed work here, right? 149, 142, kind of dropped back down, 144. See, like these months, like it wasn't as consistent as I would have liked. You know, I'm 4 hours here, I'm back down to like 2 hours here, then I'm back up to 5, then I'm down to 4. So February started to get busy with work, and it started to, you know, shift around. So my pacing and my heart rate started to shift around because of that. So it is what it is, right? I'm okay with that. But, you know, if you look at where I was before and you look at where I was now, like that little bit of time off does make a difference. Now, if you're starting to come back from running and you're not tracking your runs, whether it's this or however you track it, you may be doing yourself a disservice because you may not know exactly where to kind of reel things in. And so when you think about doing a MAF test, you want it to, you know, you want to make sure that at the end of the month that you do it so that way you know where you're at, because you don't necessarily know unless you test yourself. So this is like on a weekly basis, okay? Just charting my runs. So over the last 6 months, this is what my results looked like. So first 3 months over here, you can see my training was going really well, coming down, right? And then I got down to 649 kilometer, which was great. Heart rate fairly close to my other months. And then came December, right? Slowly trying to build back up. But my heart rate was much higher. Then January hit, and I kind of pretty much got back down to where I was in October, in January, but I was running significantly less. I mean, I was like 9 hours or less than I was in October. And I kind of went all the way back up to 732. Like that's even higher than I was when I kind of started the whole thing. But then in February, I dropped back down to 656, but my heart rate was much higher because I had a lot more faster runs in there. So again, if you don't track what you're running, then you're not going to know where technically you are. Now, the one thing I'm happy to say, right, is I've lost 16 pounds, and that's a good thing. I'm happy that I've been able to start kind of losing that weight again. And I know that that's been a big thing for me psychologically. You know, when you're out running and you're carrying so much extra weight with you, it's hard. It's not easy. And for anyone that's going through that, you know, I commend you for getting out and for putting in the miles, doing what it is you need to do, whether it's yoga, whether it's running, whether it's walking, whatever. As long as you're getting out, right? Good for you guys, because I know it's hard. Where is March gonna lead? I don't know. But what I do know is getting out running, putting it into a spreadsheet and seeing your results makes a major difference to me in how I evaluate where I am. And that's why doing a MAF test is so important. So let me show what's going on, everyone. Hopefully you're enjoying the video, and if you're getting any value from it, please think about hitting the like button, because man, does it really help my videos spread a little bit further. And if you have some questions about what I talk about on my videos, please think about commenting down below. We got a great group of people here. I'm gonna share with you something I haven't shared with anybody as of yet, and this is technically the end of 2021, going into 2022. It ended when I finished my 90 days of running every day. 856, 916, 904. And then in October it was 843, 912, 911. And then January when I started to try doing some running before I got my dog, I was 9:10, 8:53, 8:27, okay? And then I did a lot of hiking, okay? So hiking in March, hiking in July, 11 months of just hiking, I went from 8:56 to 7:51. So like a minute faster basically. But then when I started running from hiking, I was running at 6:56. That's awesome, right? So right here, 6:56. So this purple line. And then what was really cool, right? In October, right? This will be the next, in September, I was 6:34, right? And then 6:26, and then 6:02. Very cool. I don't know what my test would be now. I would probably assume I'm much higher. That's okay, and I'm not kind of freaked out about it, but I should actually go do it to see what I'm at, because I think that's important. So you get to see 11 months of hiking and where the math numbers would be. And then you can see the 3 months of running of where my math number would be. That's why it's super important to do a test every month to see where you are at. Because if you don't know where you're at, you're always going to think that it's hard, that you're not improving. However, you are improving. My story with the Maffetone method is very up and down.